Morning, Raptor Freak Alexey Ots here. Sunday morning after another disappointing loss. The Atlanta Hawks last night in Atlanta. Really not a good game last night. Once again, not the way we were supposed to bounce back against a disappointing loss on Friday night. And a lot of fans are really starting to be Chicken Little fans today, obviously. And I don't blame them because there's a lot of bad signs and things that are pointing to things with the team at this moment. That the whole thing that happened last night in Atlanta was really bad because, first of all, once again, our defensive intensity and energy was just not there. They've lost something over the All-Star break, a certain blending together and banding together that is super badass, and we're not finding it yet. Like, there have not been moments where we have been able to be such a capable defensive team that we completely shut down the other team. That's not happening right now. We have nothing down low, and we're not getting to anybody on the outside. And, Fred with a bad knee, he can't chase Trae Young around. And Trae Young was absolutely picking us apart last night, absolutely killing us. And I hate it. I hate it so much. But on the other side of things, listen, we beat Atlanta twice already. So we won the season series. I believe we only played them 3 times. I want to make sure, though, on that. So we won the season series, I believe. And that's good in itself. But it's a very sad kind of thing that's happening with the Raptors right now because everybody else is trying their damnedest and turning up their intensity after the All-Star break to make a good stretch run to the playoffs. And right now we're faltering. We've had a couple of different things happen this week that have been really bad. We start with the OG finger problem. OG is such an important part of our defense. He sets the tone. He's the physicality. He's a lot of different things that are important to our defense. He's kind of the middle of the glue. And without him out there, there's real problems with our defense. And there's a couple of things that I really don't like what I'm seeing. First of all, our bigs are hesitant to get physical around the basket. They are not initiating contact. Things are too easy. They have to at least get in between the other team and get into the basket, and they're not doing that. And I'm really worried that Kem Birch's mask is really hindering him, that he is not able to see things properly. And that's part of the reason why he's missing shots and missing passes and playing not that well. Like, his defense isn't that good either. I think the mask is really affecting his play, and he can't play that good with it right now. And then you go and you got Fred with his knee, you Pascal who's under the weather, and all of a sudden back to this kind of like Pascal that doesn't come out and produce solid numbers night in, night out. All of a sudden he's struggling from the field. He's not getting to 20 points. And Gary, the same thing. They're not getting enough shots. They're not making enough shots. And that is a big problem because we're not manufacturing any points. And meanwhile, the door is wide open. It might as well be Tampa season with Aaron Baines and Alex Len and different people like that playing down low for us right now because we ain't stopping nobody from getting close to the basket and putting it in. And listen, all these things I'm saying right now are real reasons to be worried and concerned, obviously, because 3 out of our last 4 games have been complete rout blowouts losses. And these are the kind of losses we hadn't had all year until recently, like games like this where we didn't fight all the way through and keep it close and kind of have a shot at the end of the game. That these games are an aberration compared to that. And there's a couple of things I'm really worried about because of it. Some of it's lackadaisicalness. Some of it is maybe at this point in the season, teams are turning on new gears and how they need to play. And we're just not doing that. In fact, we've gone a gear back in a way because of our lack of intensity on defense. There really is a lack of all kinds of things right now with this team. And they need to get their asses together and figure it out. Tom Duke, good morning, speechless also. Listen, I don't want to get too Chicken Little about it, though, also, because there is a whole other side of the perspective we need to think about also. That these may be just a little bit of a growing pains, a little bit of a restart in the beginning, in the end of the season, which sucks, because that's how Nick Nurse is describing it, is that he feels like he's back to day one of opening day of the season, the way the team is playing right now, that he has to rebuild everything again, that it's that freaking bad. That he has to go back to the basics and rebuild it all over again with the team. And that's really scary in some ways. But in some ways, it could be that they get back to it quicker than we think. And listen, they are not happy. Like, I saw Fred in the interview last night, and he was pissy and angry, and he was talking shit back to the reporters because he just didn't want to answer the stupid questions. And Nick is the same. He's just like, I'm so disappointed in them. We had an after game meeting that's longer than normal where we went over the things that are not acceptable about what is happening with this team right now. And, I don't want to point any fingers. I don't want to say anything, but there's a couple of things that around the juju of the team right now that are bugging me. Like one of them is I really am not happy with Thaddeus Young right now. He's supposed to be a veteran presence, a guy who's leader and showing the guys how to play. And he's missing free throws. He's not playing smart in some ways on defense. He's missing coverages. He's playing lackadaisical, and he sets a tone. And that's a different kind of tone than what OG sets. And I don't like that. Thad, you really need to start playing your ass off. You need to play better from free throw line, and you need to be like just all around just more competent, because right now you look like you are making rookie mistakes just like Scotty's making rookie mistakes on defense, and we can't have that. You're a vet. You need, I know you're learning the system new, but you really need to get your shit together, because honestly, you're in the rotation. But honestly, I don't think you deserve to be in the rotation over guys like Yuta and Malachi and Justin Champagnie, Delano, because right now your minutes are not producing correctly. You're missing easy shots. You're blowing assignments. You're missing passes. And some of that is just being on a new team. I understand. But there's basic things that pros need to do night in, night out, especially 12-year pros. He's not doing. And that's what's pissing me off. And that may be why Popovich was not playing him in San Antonio, is that he's kind of lackadaisical to me in some ways. I don't like that, because he adds to the intensity of our team. And right now, he's not intense enough to be in the intensity of our team. Now, two bright spots I just want to talk about real quick about the last two games are Scotty and Precious. Now, we had two blowout losses, and we're seeing what these guys would be doing on teams that are shitty, like Orlando. If they were the man and they had to take over and be the guy, we'd see a game like Scotty night in, night out on Friday night. Precious on Saturday night. Both those guys had amazing games in both those games. And I really like the light that shines as far as their future and their potential and their abilities and what they may be able to do in the future. That we're seeing a little bit more of Precious last night. Like some of the stuff he did last night was fantastic. That low pass to Gary on the break was really, really well executed and passed to him exactly right in a way that he could catch it and put it in. And then there's other stuff like the jams by Precious. Obviously, they're amazing. Paul B messaged me right after that one dunk, and he's like, "We got a new one on the list." And I'm like, "Yeah, we do, Paul. Oh, yeah, we do," because it was badass, and he had a couple of them last night. And hitting the threes and other stuff like that, and getting a good 20-point game doesn't hurt. And that's a nice bright spot to point to for the future and stuff. But the problem is we need our established vets to step up. Fred had a pretty decent game last night, but he couldn't match up with Trey last night. And part of you can tell his knee has got him a step too slow, because he couldn't chase Trae Young around last night and do much to stop him. And Trey picked us apart. And remember that we beat them twice and they hadn't beaten us yet. So they owed us. This is the thing about the Charlotte and Atlanta games. They both were in the same situation. They'd both gotten beaten by us pretty bad, and they had stuff to prove against us, and they just happened to get us on the weak side of things. And it's too bad, because now a lot of fans are jumping ship once again. It's this kind of thing. We have losses like we do a couple nights in a row, like these past two nights. Everybody jumps ship, and then we come back and we get a 6-game winning streak, an 8-game winning streak, and then all of a sudden people come back on. Well, everybody's jumping back off right now, and a lot of people are trying to say that Dick Jefferson's right. A lot of people are trying to say that, like, the Raptors aren't going to be in the play-in. I know. Click messaged me last night. He wrote in this thing. He's like, we're not even going to make the playoffs, he thinks, at this point. No, don't go that negative, Click. Please, 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 please stay with us. We will right the ship. This is just a temporary problem right now. They have not come back from break yet. That Blake Murphy made the joke on his Twitter last night that it's nice to see all the teams come back from All-Star break, except for the Raptors have not come back from the All-Star break yet, because they're not playing that way yet. Dwight McPhee, good morning. That was a tough one. They looked aimless. They looked aimless. They looked pointless. They looked like they weren't on the same page. There's a lot of different issues right now. Fred said it himself last night. They're not gelling on offense, whereas they're getting good passing between each other. There's some issues right now that they need to work out, and hopefully they can do it. Now, this is the thing. Tomorrow we start playing Brooklyn at home. Tomorrow in Brooklyn, and then Tuesday here in Toronto. I'm thinking about going to the game on Toronto on Tuesday because I really feel bad about how they're doing. Nobody's going to go to this game in some ways because, first of all, they're losing, and other people are going to be like, I don't want to go and be around a bunch of people after health and safety. So it could be a really weird crowd also. And Goran made his debut last night for Milwaukee. He played okay. He was off the bench, and they beat Milwaukee, which is very interesting. But we need to make sure that we start kicking their ass. They had Kyrie last night, just so you know. But I don't know if they'll have Kyrie tomorrow night because it's in Brooklyn. And I don't know what the rule is. And they're also saying that Kevin Durant is not likely to play in either of these games against us tomorrow and Tuesday. That it's too soon, and then we probably won't have to deal with Durant. Thank God. Because that at this point in what's going on with us, we can't afford to play a Kevin Durant Nets team for 2 nights because they're going to kick our ass and they're going to overtake us in the standings if Kevin Durant is there right now in our present state. So thank God that he may not be there, that Kyrie probably still can't play in Brooklyn, and Ben Simmons is still a couple weeks away. So we'll see a B team kind of Nets team tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow night, and then hopefully also again on Tuesday. And if we can beat Brooklyn 2 nights in a row, that would be super huge for getting a cushion above them because they're right there. They're right there nipping at our heels in the standings. And the Celtics keep winning and we keep losing. And that gap between us and them is widening to get out of the play-in. And I hate that. I hate both of those things. So these games really matter. It's an understatement, really. And the team needs to get their shit together and get this right. Oh my gosh. Tom Duke's saying, that's great. If you can go, we need more than ever to support our boys. Yeah, you know what? I've had an issue this morning. This has been just a bad weekend all around. I get up this morning. This is why I'm on so late, y'all. I didn't mean to come on so late. I got up and I pushed my computer button power, and a puff of smoke came out the side of my computer this morning and went poof. My regular computer. I'm on my backup right now. My regular computer, my main computer has just blown in a gasket. Literally, some smoke came out the side of it, and now there's no screen and it's not coming on. And now I may have to go get a new computer today and do some other things just to get back on track with things, because this is a unforeseen thing that I didn't think was going to happen. The computer just pooping out on me. So now I'm going to have to go down the street, possibly have to buy a whole new laptop computer to be able to do the show and do other things that I do day to day. So that's how things are starting this day. It's just been like that. So these guys are not going to stay like this. Remember that this is the Raptors. They're going to get their head out of their ass. They're going to watch a lot of tape. They have pride. They're going to come back some point somehow and fix this stuff. Tom Duke saying, hope you're not going to burn that place down, buddy. Bummer. I don't know what. Hopefully I can get a good price. I'm going to see if they can fix it. But if it's too much, I might as well just buy a new one, right? Sometimes repairs are just not worth it if they're like around $300 already, and you can just go get a new laptop for $5. So I'm gonna figure it out. I'll see what I do today and make a decision. But yeah. Where am I at for subscriber numbers, Tom? It's not a real good number, but it's climbing. It's climbing slowly but surely. We're going to get it going over time and over places. But I'm not worried about that kind of stuff. I can go get a new computer and be okay. There's different things about my life that are all right. So don't worry about that with the money with me. But it may mean that if I have to go buy a computer today, may mean I'm not going to be able to buy a ticket to Brooklyn on Tuesday. So we'll just see how it all works out. But anyway, yeah, last night, once again, a repeat of a really shitty, bad performance. We had one stretch during the second quarter where we had it clicking. We had good offense. We had good defensive coverage. We were stopping them, and we were in the lead. And we actually started the game really well last night. We started ahead of them and we were beating them pretty good. And we, it was back and forth, but we had a good lead, a 12-point lead at one point. And then it was over. They came back and we had no more fight again. And I hate that. Maybe Nick needs to start playing. Like, why aren't you playing Delano and Justin earlier? These guys are really good energy, grit guys. Why, he even said that in the interview after the game last night. Nick Nurse said, maybe the coaches didn't react fast enough in certain ways to try and help them try and win the game. So the coaches need to get up off their ass and start trying new players if these other guys are not going to keep up with their defensive assignments. That if it's going to be this bad, and it may be that one of the things they got to switch is Precious in the starting lineup for Khem. Because right now that mask on Khem is not doing him any favors. He is not looking like he is aware of what's going on the court in some ways, because the mask may be limiting him his vision and different things. He's not making shots that he made money automatically earlier in the season, like easy little shots in the lane and stuff like that. And, obviously we have such a, when we're really good and we're all together and we're playing at a high level, we're a badass team. But when we have people struggling at different places for different reasons, like everybody's kind of got a different problem right now, whether it's Fred's knee, Pascal being a little under the weather, OG's finger, the mask on Khem, the newness of Thad Young, all that stuff is all kind of adding up to a problem for us. And it's crazy because we were rolling in some ways before the All-Star break. It's like the break messed us up. We didn't need the All-Star break in some ways. It was too long off. And it was maybe not the right thing. And the other thing is the Raptors historically as a franchise have always done poorly after the All-Star break. This is something that is regular for us. We don't come back from All-Star breaks right. We don't come into the season right. You see this. We come in lackadaisical. It's like we're not prepared. We're not ready to punch the other teams in the face. They're ready to punch us in the face, and we're not matching that energy. And this is a real problem. They need to get this right. And if I was Nick Nurse, I wouldn't be playing guys by their skill level anymore. I would be playing them by their output of energy and hustle and how hard they're working out there. Because right now we've got some guys that are dogging it, and they may not need to be getting starter kind of minutes at this point. That we need to get the hungry guys in there, the guys that are going to work their asses off to set the tone. Because when Yuta came in later, he was badass. He was all over the place. He was going for offensive rebounds. He was hitting his open shots, which I really love. Yuta looked really good last night in the bit of time that he played. And Malachi looked great also for a bit. He missed a lot of shots, but his defense was on track and looking good. And listen, I would much rather have those guys who are working their asses off out there than some of the guys that are in the main rotation that are not doing it right now. They just aren't doing it right. They need their minutes cut a little bit. And I'm not going to name anybody specifically because it's really weird and hard to pinpoint exactly who it is and what it is, because it's all different ways. Like Scotty has played really well in the last two games to a degree. He did in the first game. He did in his last night. He got foul trouble last night, but he was making a lot of rookie mistakes in the last two games, like not running out to get Rozier when he's open for three on Friday night, or just not playing all out on defense to come and get the guys. They really need to realize that running out at the guys with your arms up is super important for our defense to be sealing and stuff like that. So Tom Duke's saying, yeah, we started out great, and then the third quarter, yikes. Yeah, we couldn't score any points. I think we scored like 14 or 16 points in the third quarter. And meanwhile, Atlanta's getting like a 40-point quarter, stuff like that. That is really, really bad. And our plus minuses on our team, our guys, is just getting wrecked in these last two games and different things. It's really bad. And these guys are in a low place, and they're mad, and they don't like it. And hopefully they can take it out on Brooklyn tomorrow night. They really need to get on the right side of a victory, because this is not good. The more they lose to games to teams that are behind them, obviously that's not a good thing. So Kenny, we need a real injury report. Our guys are hurt. These guys can't even move. It's something weird. Like they're like slower, and for some reason, I know Pascal was sick. He had the flu the last couple of days. I don't know. I would thought because he was playing last night, he felt better. He looked more energetic. He looked more capable. But once again, at a certain point, he just doesn't do anything. Like, it's like they play him, he's not doing anything, and then Nick kind of holds him out and rests him. And, he's not stepping up and being that clutch superstar man, the guy for us. And that's too bad, because we need to depend on him for that. And I thought that he'd gotten to that level and it was just not going back at this point. But I guess because he got sick over the break and he's come back, he's got to get it back again, which sucks. And Fred's knee is obviously hurting him. And I like what G was saying yesterday, that we should rest him. In fact, I thought they were going to rest him last night and not even put him in there to try and chase Trae Young around. But Fred's prideful. He probably said, I feel all right. I want to play. I need to try and help my team win. And that may have been why he played after all at the start of the game, because I didn't think he was going to play. And I thought it would have been maybe a smart game for him to sit. And the second night of a back-to-back after playing really shitty the night before, he did play better last night, and he was necessary for the little bit that we were getting. We really needed him. But yeah, it was there are underlying injuries, definitely. Like the whole thing with OG, we didn't realize why he was shooting so poorly before the break was because he had a broken finger and there was something wrong with him. So right now we're feeling like there's things wrong with the team right now. And, that may be, there's underlying nagging injuries that are just kind of bugging different guys in different places, whether it's a mask, a knee, a non-COVID illness, whatever. Another thing I want to talk about is the announcers. I'm glad it was Paul and Jack and not Paul and Leo, because that's just too much downer. And I did continue to listen to them last night, Jack, because Jack, he brings it up. He is a guy who's a voice of reason. He can shine a light on good things to look forward to. But Paul Jones, my God, you make me want to shoot myself the way you call the game. You make me so depressed. And part of it is I'm realizing is that Paul Jones has been doing the Raptors since the very beginning, y'all. Paul Jones, he was doing the TV before, like in the very beginning. And he was calling all those games where we would lose by win 20 games in the whole season. We're losing left and right. And he just has a really Debbie Downer style to how he calls the game. And it bugs the shit out of me. It really does. And especially like this whole thing with Matt being out for COVID at this time when we're having these stinker games, Paul Jones is absolutely the worst person for me to have to listen to call the game. I'd almost rather listen to Dominique and the Atlanta announcers than Paul Jones right now, because he depresses the fuck out of me. Like, I honestly want to shoot myself after I hear the game called by Paul Jones, because he's so like, the Raptors are not doing it. He's just so anti-encouraging. He's like discouraging is what he is with his tone and the way he calls the game. I think that in life, Paul Jones has a chip on his shoulder and he's a little bit of a negative person personally in real life. Like, I think he's a nice guy and he means well and he's a great professional. He's been around for a long, long time and I love him in a lot of ways. But I think that inside his heart, he's a sad person and he's a negative person, because his self-talk is a reflection in the way he talks out about the game. And I just want him to shine more of a light. We need Raptors announcers to be on our side and be encouraging and positive about how we can get somewhere, just like how I am on my channel. And when I hear Paul so discouraging and just the way he calls the game, it really adds to this ambiance of uncertainty and fear, and that we're not good, that we are pretenders. And whereas when we have Matt Devlin calling the game and his positivity, his excitement, his exuberance, it is the opposite effect. He can carry us through these kind of negative things and not feel like this. Whereas Paul, that motherfucker is Debbie Downer to me. He is that Rachel Dratch character on Saturday Night Live when he's calling the game. He is so depressing and he makes me want to shoot myself when I hear him calling the game when we're getting routed. And when we start to lose, I cannot listen to him anymore because I turn it down. Because it's listen, we can hear all the bad things they're doing, and you can say, oh, the Raptors haven't scored for 5 minutes and stuff like that. Matt Devlin says that kind of stuff, but it's just the way you're doing it. And partly it's also my memory of hearing your voice from those years long, long ago of you calling games where we were absolutely mired in bullshit in a very horrible place as an expansion team, winning 20 to 30 games a year. And I hear those years in your voice, Paul Jones, because you're from that era. And when you were calling those games, it was depressing and sad. And I don't like this flashback. I don't like hearing you calling our TV games because it brings me back to the bad days of the Raptors. And I feel like there's something weird in coincidence with these two routes the last two nights, and you're calling our play-by-play for the last two games. I know it's not really a direct thing you can causally relate to the reasons for why it's happening, but it definitely doesn't help. It's not the right window dressing for this awful scene that we're getting to see lately. And that's what I'm saying about it. So please, Paul, if you could continue to call the games this week, you need to bring it up. You need to get out of your negative mindset, possibly in your regular life. Whatever it is, I'm not going to read too into it, but I can feel your energy, and there's something dark behind you, and you're not a happy person in some ways, and you need to get past that and be a happy person like Matt Devlin is, and bring it out in the broadcast, because we don't want a whole bunch of depressed Raptor fans after we get the game. You need to show us the light, even in the darkness. Please. Oh my gosh. All right, yeah. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Tom Duke is saying Trey is a real baller. We cannot argue with this. Like, honestly, our team should be able to tie him up really well. We've done it. We did it the second game against Atlanta when we saw him finally. We really negated him. He did not have a good game the first time he played against us in the second game against Atlanta. And last night he went off. He controlled the game. He was the best player on the court, and we shouldn't have never allowed that. In fact, I would have rather have played Malachi more minutes than Fred last night, because Fred on one leg cannot do the job against him. And Malachi probably was guarding him way better when he was out there. And this, that means, hey, Fred, go guard DeLon right. That's fine. You can still play, but I did not like Fred guarding Trey last night, and I think that was a big part of the problem is Fred's not 100%. He can't chase guards like Trey around right now effectively on defense. And then you have these other problems with OG not in the middle and as the glue defensive guy. You got Kem, who can't see very well. You got Pascal, who's for some reason he's a step slower or something like that. And Pascal is trying really hard, and he's playing really good in certain ways, but it's not the same kind of level that he was at even just 2 weeks ago. And that's a real problem right now. So it's like a perfect storm of a lot of bullshit all at once, whether it's my computer, whether it's Matt Devlin, whether it's Fred's knee, whether it's OG's finger. It's all a perfect storm of bad shit right now. And we need to get right back on the right foot tomorrow night. And these guys are way motivated. Like today, do you think they're happy today? They're probably just as pissed off as we are. And they are ready to come back and fix this. And they don't like having 2 nights in a row like what they had in the last couple nights. That is really, really bad trend, especially when you look at it before the break and you see that 3 out of 4 of our last games were bad routes where we didn't even compete in those games. And we didn't have games like that at the beginning of the year for the most part. Most every single game this season, for the most part, we have been in it and to win it and real close to fighting and getting close to being the victory. If we didn't win, we were not losing by double digits. We were not losing by 30 almost points. And that's fucked up. And that's what I don't like about what we're seeing right now. We're in a weakened place. Other teams are starting their intensity for the stretch run, and we are not. We are actually regressing in some ways, and that sucks. But we need to overcome this. And this is the thing. We're not going to miss the playoffs. Don't get too crazy. We're going to stay in the play-in at least, worst case scenario. We will not miss the playoffs. Trust me. And hopefully we can still salvage it and get out of the play-in bracket. I still believe that's very possible, even with these 2 setback, horrible losses to start after the break. We can still do this. Just keep your heads on tight and don't chicken little right now. Just because we've had 2 really bad games doesn't mean this is how the rest of the season is going to go. We can get this fixed and get this fixed fast. It's just these guys need to come back with the dedication to the energy and the intensity that they have to play with, that they've been playing with for most of the season. It's just all of a sudden these last 2 games, they decided they didn't want to come back from the beach yet. So it's messed up. It's messed up. Good morning, Sue. Good to see you, Sue. Always good to talk to you in the morning. I don't know what more to say. I watched the interviews with Nick Nurse and Fred VanVleet after the game last night. Both of them are disappointed, upset. Fred basically almost cussing at the reporters. Like, why are you asking me that? I don't give a shit. Like, why does it matter? They're like, he's talking to the reporters like, was it nice to be with your family over the break? And does that help you? And why does that matter? Who cares? Like, that's what he said to the reporter. Is so great. And then Nick's just like, this is really bad. We held them after with the game and had a long meeting after the game to really look at ourselves and talk about what is not going to continue anymore. And that's the thing. That's the coach's job. That's his job, is to make sure the team is prepared and ready for playing. And he's not doing that right now. It's too bad. Sue saying, let's hope we can turn this around. Tough loss. Yeah, I think we can, Sue. I don't even think we should hope. I think we should expect to turn this around. It's just that the character of our guys, the way we are, we need to have that winning makeup again. And I hate to say it, I'm worried about this Thad Young deal, that part of him being in the mix is messed up our chemistry in some ways. Like, that, I don't know if him being on the bench in San Antonio has made him not have enough of a winning edge or what, but he needs to get his shit together, play more like a veteran with less mistakes, and be a better leader on this team. Show the other guys, the young guys, how you play really intense defense and stuff like that. Because Thad is not, like, I don't like our record with Thad Young in the lineup right now. I don't like our record with Paul Jones calling the game. I want winning around this team. And when the certain people are in the right places, we win. And when people aren't in the right places or they're not there, like OG, then we lose. And I didn't realize how much OG is that important on defense, that we have no fucking defense when OG is out like this. Like, is he that important to our team that if we don't have OG out there setting our defense, that they play like this regularly without OG out there? That's really bad. That is really bad. Pascal, you're a better defender than this. What are you doing, Precious, Kem, Chris Boucher? You guys need to physical these big guys and not let them do jack shit near the basket. I don't even want to look at the box score. I'm telling you, I don't even want to look at that garbage right now, because there's nothing it's going to be able to tell me other than the Raptors need to get their heads out of their ass, play with better energy, and come more correct to the game. And hopefully this can start tomorrow, because really it's going to feel really awful if we lose to a Durantless, Irvingless, Simmons-less Nets team tomorrow night. If that team without any of their major guys beats us tomorrow night, that's going to be really bad. So we need to really make sure we beat it. Sue saying, I understand why Fred is upset with press. It isn't like the Raps did it on purpose and they don't want to win. The media asks dumb questions sometimes. I completely agree with this, Sue. He's just calling them out on their shit, and usually has more patience about it, and he'll just kind of humor them. But like when he's pissed off and he's upset like this, yeah, he's going to call them out for dumbass questions. It's like, honestly, they do really ask stupid ass questions. Some of them ask questions that cause conflict. They say, oh, well, why do you don't feel like you're getting enough shots or something like that. Some of them ask things that are just like asinine and like common sense. Like, yeah, of course. Well, no, he's not trying to win. He came to the game to just sit and look pretty. No, come on. Reporters, think you do this so much. Maybe that's part of the problem, is that you're trying to make new questions and they're just stupid. I don't know, but I understand his frustration. And honestly, I like it when Fred has an edge like that and then he shows that he's prickly and he's pissed off about how things are going. Because if he didn't act like that and he didn't care, I'd be way more worried that if he was just kind of like, yeah, so what? That's good that we care about losing and we want to win. That is so good. So I don't know. I don't want to dwell on this too much. Like I said, my computer blew up this morning. I'm using my backup right now, and I need to go get it fixed. And that's probably what I'm going to be doing for the rest of Sunday, is trying to get a new computer, figure out my computer situation so I can continue to do the stream. That's why I was so late today. My computer went, I hit power, and a puff of smoke came out the side of it, just like a cartoon. Like it was like, it blew a literal gasket. And anyway. All right, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Please hit that red subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscriptions. I'm getting some good gains, and it's tough. When they're losing, I don't get as many subscriptions. Obviously, it's when they're winning, people are more interested in hearing about them, talking about them, and they'll come and seek me out, and they'll listen to me then. But otherwise, right now, I'm not expecting too much of a surge this week, at least for right now. Hopefully, we can win tomorrow night, and then I'll get more traffic again. It's really when we win, I get more views. And when it isn't, it's 5 of y'all sitting in here with me. And I love y'all for being here no matter what. Because, like, listen, let's not chicken little. Let's not get into this headspace where we don't think we're going to be in the playoffs, where we start questioning whether we're a good team or not. We're a good team. We're just in a bad place right at this second, and we will figure it out. It'll be all right. Raptor trying to escape your laptop. That might be right, Tom. What happened is, if I don't know how much of a computer person you are or other people that are watching, is on my laptop, the screen and the casing around the laptop near the hinge came apart. You know how the hinges of your laptop can sometimes kind of go awry and bent a little bit, and it like came apart and split. So there's opening, and the wiring and the boards and everything were kind of exposed. And I came in and I turned it on. I don't know if it was temperature thing or something like that with the cold outside and the warm, but it went, and then the screen went black. I was literally writing in my description for the stream this morning and putting the picture and just about to go online, and it went, and everything turned off, and I had to go reset everything up on my old one. So yeah, it could be the Electro Raptor inside it was like, shh, I don't know. Maybe this is good, because maybe I'll go to get a new computer that's even better, that'll have a better screen, better camera, a better a microphone, and all kinds of different things. So we're just going to look at it as a positive. We make lemons into lemonade. We're going to make this negative into a positive. Oh, yeah. All right, y'all. Let's go. Don't keep your heads down for too long. I know I'm wearing my purple hat and I got purple behind me, but don't keep your heads down too long. We are going to get this right. And seriously, y'all, now we got 2 losses in that 10 pile that I didn't want to have more than 10. We still got to get 15 wins before the end of the season. And I believe we can still do that. We just need to really, really take each game as a very serious thing and try at 48 minutes, really good effort all around. Because until we start doing that, we are going to lose every single game. We've got to put the effort out that we've been consistently putting out for the whole season until recently. And that's a really bad thing. All right, yeah, Tom, at least that. Yeah, look at the good way. Hopefully, maybe it'll be a better computer. I'm going to go in there and ask them what I could get that specifically can help me do the best YouTube live stream that I can. It's like that. So maybe we're getting an equipment upgrade because we have to. All right, y'all. Let's go. Let's beat the Nets tomorrow. Preview tomorrow morning. Hopefully, I'll have good news about different things in Raptor world, and hopefully we can get a good win. We need the win tomorrow night so bad. So bad. And we need to beat the shit out of Goran Dragic. Oh, yeah, we do. So much. All right. Let's go.